everybody to my game development log for Fish in the Sea. I'm really excited that these videos have been reaching fellow indie game devs, as well as game enthusiasts. I've been continuing my game design process throughout the past few weeks. I am excited to share a new video surrounding my art direction philosophy for creature art and animation. Unambiguously, the main focus of these designs was aquatic animal life. Since my inspiration was rooted in reality, I decided to visit several aquariums around the world. Within the past year, I've attended the New England Aquarium, the Oceanography Museum of Monaco, and the Aquarium of Genoa. At these locations, I've had the opportunity to witness and record footage of the anatomy of many marine animals. I am a huge promoter of studying and replicating real-life movement within art. My goal with these creature designs is to capture visceral feelings that one experiences when observing these wonderful animals in the flesh. Visiting the aquariums was an amazing help to understanding how these creatures are built. Without further ado, I will get started with discussing my main character for Fish in the Sea, the flying fish. As I've mentioned in my first video, I was rather taken by the movement of the flying fish gliding through the winds and waves. I wanted to create a main character that would enforce the feelings of agency within the player. Being a fish that has significant movement outside of the water's surface was a compelling idea to me. I also love the idea of the added vulnerability of a fish out of water, as the player will experience when leaping outside the sea. I briefly mentioned that the flying fish's original illustration was created on Procreate, but that was only the beginning of this asset's creation process. On After Effects, I created both idle and swimming animations utilizing its large front fins, with its back fins acting in conjunction to propel the player forward throughout the water. Alongside the gentle swimming movement, I wanted a dash move that increased the player's velocity for a short amount of time. I programmed this by using a timer node on Godot. Visually, I wanted to create effects that would indicate the player was in dash mode. I decided to add a sparkle particle effect that was shot off on a trigger with the dash command. Although this worked just fine, I had an idea in my head of how fun it would feel to twirl through the water. From there, I created a 16-frame twirl animation for the fish to boost through the water. I love the whimsical feeling that this creates while exploring undersea. While gliding, I reused some of the twirl frames to create the effect of the fish gliding back and forth through the wind. I believe this added perspective adds depth to the character, as well as more dynamic motion that helps player immersion. The next creature that I wanted to focus on was the moon jellyfish. I've become enamored with this species since watching calming videos of jellyfish tanks. Seeing these in person at several aquariums did not disappoint my fascination with them. Something about watching them float without any care in the world is very inspiring. I wanted to create an ode to this beautiful animal in my game. My three main focuses were on the jellyfish's transparency, weightlessness, and bioluminescence. Like before, I created the initial raster drawing on Procreate, while dividing the body parts into separate assets. In each step of this, I was careful to use alpha values that were noticeable but still clearly transparent. I used bright opaque colors to line and highlight the body so that they pop against the deep sea backdrops. To focus on the jelly's movements, I animated a simple float sequence on After Effects. I exported the animation to a PNG sequence and used Godot's animation player to read the frames on this spreadsheet. Then, I implemented a simple code to randomize the speed of the animation so that the jellyfish didn't move in unison. To mimic the weightlessness of the jellies, I implemented a code that moves their position slowly to imply floating through a light current. After I was pleased with the way that the jellyfish looked and moved, I progressed to focus on my third goal, bioluminescence. I had the idea to have the jellyfish light up at random intervals, but since I wanted to increase the interactivity, I decided to implement a feature where they light up on collision with the player. My intention was to give a rewarding feeling when swimming through the ocean and interacting with its creatures. As you can see in the footage, I have more to say about the moon jellyfish. I am working on both gameplay and audio cues involving this asset. However, as I want to focus on the character art in this video, I hope to address those aspects in future videos. For now, I am happy to leave them as a mystery for the audience to discover later, either while following my content or playing my game. Another fish that I wanted to include was the Siamese fighting fish, also known as the betta fish. Although these beautiful fish are freshwater, I couldn't pass on finding a way to integrate them into my game, as I am a huge fan of their iridescent colors and elegant fins. They are commonly sold at pet stores and known for their aggressive behavior towards their peers. I've always found them to look so sad at pet stores, where they are commonly packaged individually in plastic cups. Their beautiful tails and fins are drooping as they have hardly any real estate in their little worlds. For the character art, I wanted to capture their lovely gem-toned scales. In the initial raster drawing, I outlined their scales in bright colors to imply the sheen. Then, in After Effects, I integrated overlay layers in my animation to make them glisten as they move. I wanted to create two styles of movements that reflect the way they looked when trapped versus the way they look in their natural environment or a healthy aquarium. I also implemented a lock-in pathfinding code for when they see the player that mimics their aggressive behavior. Although I still have more I need to do to integrate them into the game, I am happy with the way that my illustration and its animations are looking. The goldfish is a relatively interesting addition to the lineup of characters. This is the first fish that I am animating purely in Godot. I found a shader online that distorts the fins in a sine wave pattern. When possible, I prefer to use shaders over importing frames because it causes less processing delays. I hope to add the same shader to other elements in my game, as I think it does a great job replicating the feeling of flowing and floating in the water. Much like the betta fish, I haven't given much attention to the goldfish to integrate it into my game. However, I do have some ideas for this asset that I am excited about materializing in the coming months. The last creature I'm going to talk about today are manta rays. I love the way that they glide through water with their large wings. I've observed and interacted with stingrays in the touch pools at the different aquariums I've attended. I used this knowledge to draw out a 48-frame animation on Procreate of their fins bending along with the current, including the drag it takes when they change direction. In Godot, I animated these manta rays in a circular motion. I then added effects that enhanced their silhouettes so that they contrast more against the background. I overlaid caustic particle effects and varied the size and speed of the rays to simulate depth. I'm working currently on adding audio-visual effects as they swim, but I would like to share more about that in a future video. Thank you all so much for listening to me talk about Fish in the Sea's character designs. I'm really excited about the direction that the development of my game is taking. If you are interested in learning more about my process, feel free to check out my Linktree in my channel description. I have Twitter and Instagram accounts that I post on more frequently with smaller updates throughout my development process. Along with this, feel free to subscribe. I'm really happy that I'm finding an audience as a fledgling designer, and I'd love to keep growing the channel. I hope that you all have a wonderful day, and I hope to post soon.